Okay, so could you introduce yourself and explain to us the two main strands of the work that Oxfam does in Mexico?
Okay, my name is Cruiskshank. I'm an advocacy officer from Mexico, and we do have in Mexico two main campaigns: Make Trade Fair campaign and Control Arms campaign. In Make Trade Fair, we are trying to push that North America Free Trade Agreement. We take out the white corn out of the agreement. That's the main point that now we have in that campaign. But we do work with three NGOs network and Campesino network, working to strengthen in their capacities of make advocacy and just making lobby with the government and legislative power.
Okay.
And in Contra Arms campaign, we are making lobby through a network that is working with childhood, and we're making researches in the same way with Make Trade Fair campaign. And researchers and some videos, like in Control Arms, we made a video that is like a skill for the people to train their capacities and put the issue in the public agenda. And so with the research and the video, we're trying to make lobby too and put the issue on the public agenda. And mainly it's because both issues are trying to do something in two main problems that we do have in Mexico. For example, Contra Arms campaign is directed to all the small arms that are being illicit transit.
Okay.
And with all the corruption that is, and in particular we're working with the impact that the small arms have in hands of women and young people.
Okay.
Too. And in the case of Make Trade Fair, it's because Mexico is the first country that has signed more than 24 agreements. So, and how these agreements are being making impact in poor people, poor campesinos. That's the main thing. Just saying that those are agreements signed without the fair rules, and that had been impact. Well, you can take it out.
And what are the main
poverty? I mean,
what are the main results of a lack of arms control here? Why have you launched a campaign into arms control? Because what are the results of a lack of arms control? What's happening?
Well, for us, the main result that we have had is that common citizens, are taking this issue in their hands, because usually this issue it's being part of just the government agenda, and citizens always take this, they don't participate in these kind of things. It's just government, and security is not part of the public agenda. And now what Oxfam is doing is putting the issue in the public agenda. So I think that this is our main result. The other thing that is important, of course, is Mexico taking good positions in United Nations, for example, trying to have some incidents in the federal law, that there is a law about small arms. But those things are good, but if you don't have citizens with a really conscientious about this problem, those things won't have advanced.
And what are the main security issues caused by a lack of arms control?
Well, law, public policies directed to youth people, public policies directed to women, and law, and how the law is being achieved. I think that, there always, you can have many laws, but there are like spaces between and gaps between that. And those are I think that the main issues in Mexico: corruption.
So what is the experience of people, just regular people on the street? What's their experience to do with arms?
Well, look, I think that the next step is saying, well, citizens participate, but how they can participate. And that's why Oxfam is trying to make links and alliances between scholars, local governments. I mean, the role of the local governments is really important, how they are going to involve the people, citizen common. Because everybody wants to say yes, or everybody says, I want to participate, but how is the key question. And in this part is how local governments and then state governments and the federal government have to do and make plans. And I think that the links between the different actors is what Oxfam is trying to do, and I think that it could have, if not a solution, part of the solution.
Okay. And what are the dangers faced by regular people, by arms in Mexico?
The dangers.
The dangers.
You know, you can walk in the street, and if somebody, well, mainly robes, assault, no sé cómo, asaltos. And in the, when you are in urban cities, no, but in rural areas, and many, I mean, in Mexico, in Sinaloa, and all the states, Michoacán, they have a lot of kills with small arms between narcotraffic mafias, no? And well, the risk is that common people that is in risk always if you have this kind of fates between them, no?
And why are arms such a problem in Mexico? Are they cheap to get? Are they easy to get?
They are cheap. They are easy. You know, we have a border, the north border, the Mexican north border with the states. It's a very, very, ¿cómo se dice? With east filters?
Porous.
Frontier. And you have about 2,000 arms each day coming in, and they said, for example, that in 3 years they have decommitted like 36,000 small arms. So it can tell you that we have the United States, that they don't have really strong controls on arms and getting arms. But in the other hand, you have the south frontier, the south border, with the same problem too. No, Central America, there are countries that have wars, small wars, I mean internal wars, and they are armed. It's a society that is armed.
And what are your levels of gun crime like in Mexico? I mean, do you know sort of how many people are killed by guns a year, or?
Not in Mexico, because you know that number is not certain. They have all the numbers of people killed, but not exactly for small arms.
Okay.
We have a report that we say that each minute a person dies in the world because a small arm, small or light arm. But not in Mexico. We cannot say, I think, until now.
I'm trying to remember the fact.
Because we had a research before, like 2 years ago, we made one research, and they have the total kills, people killed, but not exactly for arms, for small or light arms.
Okay.
Because even in their records, they don't, or before, I really don't know now, but they didn't say this was for a knife, or this was for just a person killed.
Okay. And how, I mean, do you know how levels of gun crime in Mexico compare to other Latin American countries?
Well, Guatemala is the third country with deaths with small arms.
In the world, or?
No, in Latin America.
Okay.
Then I think that Mexico was, at least like 2 years ago, in the 5th place.
Okay.
But Guatemala was the first.
Okay.
And something that a scholar was saying about Haiti is that Haiti is the only one country that is recognized like with a crisis, a conflict.
Right.
So the people killed there, it's like officially recognized. But Latin America has, all Latin America doesn't have any conflict officially recognized. But we do have much more deaths for small arms than, for example, countries in Africa that have, or Haiti that have conflicts recognized.
Okay.